Saturday, September 7th, 1996. And tonight, it's the championship boxing event, a match between the heavyweights, Mike Tyson and Bruce Seldon, at the MGM Grand. This is as big as it gets.
Well, Tyson's a little beyond his prime here, let's be honest. He's doing these kind of wild fights, but he was still an interesting fighter to watch.
This is when he was in his prime, I think.
Really?
I think he might have been on the way down, but he was still killing people.
Yeah.
But he was biting off a little more than he could chew.
That was a year later, you son of a bitch. That was in 1997. I think that is when he was really going downhill.
You think
when he couldn't fight anymore, and he's like, "I'll bite you."
But he's fighting bums though. Like this guy Bruce Seldon is not a real challenger. I think he's putting off the Lennox Lewis fights on purpose because he knew he could kick his ass.
Could be.
And I think he knew Lennox Lewis was coming along because Britain was starting to produce some really badass boxers around this time.
Well, this fight was a joke. You'll hear how it plays out.
Yeah.
So the arena, it's filled with 16,000 fans, and millions more are watching on pay-per-view.
I'm somewhere watching on pay-per-view.
The song Road to Glory played as Tyson entered the arena, which Tupac wrote. And the song Ambitions as a Rider from All Eyes on Me was written for Mike Tyson.
Oh. My ambitions as a rider.
I love this song, man.
This sounds great.
Thank you.
The match?
I feel like killing somebody.
I want to chew on someone's ear, man. That's what this song makes me want to do.
The match did not last long, just like Evander Holyfield's ear in a year.
Ooh.
Tyson took out Seldon in 109 seconds. Tupac sat ringside along with Suge Knight and bodyguard Frank Alexander, nicknamed Big Frank.
Imagine how crazy you have to be a death row bodyguard. Like, you have to be nuts.
He was a former Mr. Universe who became close friends with Tupac when he joined Death Row.
Yeah.
And sitting nearby them were Charlie Sheen, who I spotted at the grocery store recently.
Winning.
Louis Gossett Jr., Reggie Jackson,
Bigstown.
and Jesse Jackson.
Wow.
No relation.
No relation.
There was a rumor that Tupac and Suge were arguing as they took their seats, but witnesses say that's false.
Wow.
Conflicting reports.
Uh-huh.
So we're about to hear Mike Tyson talking about this night.
Right after I get out the ring, I hug Tupac. I tell him, I'm gonna see you tonight, nigga. I'm gonna be at 662. I tell him, boom. After the fight, Tupac was still in that mode.
Hey. When Tyson get in the ring, he knock motherfuckers out. Well, that's what Tupac gonna do. Anybody that go to jail and come out, they got good luck.
That's very addictive.
When niggas come against me, I'ma knock they punk ass out.
If he didn't have anybody to fight, he'll find somebody to fight.
Tupac's a little guy. Like, he's not big. Like, that's why he needs a Suge behind him.
Yeah.
What is his height?
He looks like 5'8",
At most, I think.
That would be my guess.
5'7". Yeah.
They're saying that he said he was 5'11", but
Oh, come on.
He's
I think
standing
he's 5'9".
Yeah, he's standing on a box of CDs.
Yeah.
Yeah, his double album.
Yeah.
All feet on me.
Yep.
Nice.
Afterwards, Tupac and Suge, along with members of their entourage, were walking through the casino, the MGM Grand, towards the exit when they got into an altercation with a guy named Orlando Anderson,
Mr. Anderson.
a 21-year-old from Compton, CA. And the thing is, this all started because someone whispered in Pac's ear, "Oh, you see that punk over there? He tried to steal a medallion from one of our buddies. You know, you should go kick his ass."
I'm sure the bar is very low here for someone Tupac would fight. Like, he wanted to fight someone. Clearly, he was all worked up when he left that boxing match.
Yeah.
I've never been to like a professional boxing match, but I've been to the UFC a bunch of times, and there's just something in the air that people want to fucking kill each other. It's the closest thing you can get to like the Coliseum days
Yeah.
when people are just like they're foaming at the mouth.
And this is when boxing matches, like there was action going on, not now where they just kind of play defensive for 12 rounds. It's the most boring shit ever.
Yeah, hug each other.
These are like real fights, like people, and that was just only the main event. Like there was like 3 other fights there.
Yeah.
And so here we have the surveillance footage from the MGM Grand that night showing the altercation. Suge's buddy Sal is the one who whispered in his ear saying, yeah, that's that Orlando guy. He's a Crip and he's trying to rob us. So Tupac swung at him. Then Orlando swung back, knocking a chain off Pac's neck. Orlando was then shoved to the ground, and then everybody started kicking him,
Yeah.
including Suge Knight.
Yeah, they're just tap dancing on this guy.
Minutes later, security broke up the fight, and Frank Alexander, the bodyguard, held Tupac back against the wall. And that's what we're looking at right now. So as you can see, it's just,
It's mayhem going on
yeah.
there.
And they do it right out in the open.
Oh, yeah.
And then they just walk out. I mentioned that Orlando was a member of the Crips gang. Apparently, that's just a rumor. He never quite admitted to such, but it's pretty obvious.
He was a trainee. He was never an firm member.
Affiliate.
He was an
Yeah,
affiliate.
they say affiliated.
Yeah, they gave him an affiliate link for
Yeah.
online sales.
Yeah. His nickname was Little Lando or Baby Lane, this Orlando guy. And so, yeah, that was the story. He tried to snatch a gold medallion from a member of the entourage. And that's what caused the fight to break out. Another version of the story is that they had yelled at each other inside the Grand Garden earlier during the fight, and that the heated words continued into the hotel lobby afterwards. And that was started because Orlando was sitting in their seats when they arrived. And Tupac and Suge are like, who the fuck are you? You're in our seats.
Well, Baby Lane.
Maybe you don't remember me. We met. I'm Baby Lane.
Yeah, I'm Little Lando.
Maybe I don't remember the last time I blew my nose.
Well, I think at this time when at the MGM, you know how people go to sports events all the time and they just, if there's no one in those seats, I could steal those seats. Why not?
Oh, hell yeah.
But they did it on a bigger level where they're stealing like movie star seats and stuff.
But that story has not been corroborated.
Oh, okay.
That's just another
It's
version.
hearsay.
Yeah. Tupac's crew left immediately and headed a block south on the strip to the Luxor Hotel where they were staying. Although police were called to the MGM Grand, no report was filed by the Las Vegas police. Orlando was seen talking to officers, but he didn't appear injured, refused first aid from security, and declined to file a complaint.
I mean, this is Vegas. It's like, giving out speeding tickets at the Indy 500. It's a crazy town.
Yeah.
Shit's going on everywhere.
What happens there stays there.
Yeah.
I've heard that's a saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Baby Lane.
So then Orlando left the MGM Grand without the cops ever taking down his name. Isn't that insane?
Really?
And Suge later went to jail for this because he was violating parole because of another incident. So
Wait.
what that tells you, the courts did think a crime had occurred here,
Oh, yeah.
but the cops did not.
Well, there's no incident report though. That's the problem.
Exactly.
But if the probation officer can subpoena the security video, they could see Suge Knight on the video. That would get him busted.
And the cops, too, they see everybody involved in it, and they're just like, we don't want to get involved in this shit, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
We have 8 other things going on right now. So,
That's-
yeah.
Yeah, especially if everyone's gang affiliated. They're like, dude, they know gangs will follow up with shit they want to follow up with.
Right.
They don't want to be a part of that. So, like, all right, you guys just go back home, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, we'll go. We'll be crooked cops over here. You be whatever you are.
Yeah.
Over there.
Tupac went up to his room where new girlfriend Kidada Jones was waiting for him. And she is the daughter of Quincy Jones.
I knew he dated Quincy Jones' daughter. I thought it was the same one who's the actress. now.
Rashida?
I thought it was Rashida.
No, but he actually got into a fight with Rashida publicly because Tupac went on the record saying he was pissed that Quincy was dating white women and having babies with white women.
Oh my
And
God.
Rashida Jones is like, fuck you. Because her mom is the actress from Twin Peaks who recently died.
Oh.
A white woman.
Yeah.
But then he met Kidada and they got along, but he had to explain himself at first and he apologized.
But she's half white too, so he dates half white women.
Well, again, he's a multifaceted,
Yeah, yeah,
complicated figure.
Very true, very true, very true.
Imagine if he heard about the Quincy Jones gay rumors.
Ooh,
Oh,
Really
my
blow his
God.
lid.
hello. Yeah, and he didn't even call Puffy gay at this time. Yeah. Or a pedophile.
Imagine what he'd be saying these days.
Yeah.
He'd be going to town on him.
He would sound like 50 Cent
Yeah.
these days.
From what I heard, the boy party started in like '98.
Oh, so
okay.
When
Tupac,
Usher came around.
he
so
just missed it.
he just missed it.
Wow. So Usher ushered in the boy party era.
Woo! Yeah.
Tupac ditched his tan silk shirt, which we saw in the video, and slacks for a black and white tank top, baggy jeans, and leather sports shoes. To finish the ensemble, he threw on a heavy, solid gold medallion around his neck with a picture of a haloed black man wrestling a serpent with one hand and holding a gun in the other.
Oh.
If that doesn't represent Tupac's state of mind, I don't know what does.
I used to have that.
Not part of the outfit, a bulletproof vest.
Oh.
Kidada stayed behind at the hotel as Tupac set off for the night. And his reasoning was the same reason he wanted Jada to not go to his live shows or direct the California Love video.
He's
Stay out of-
separating those worlds.
Yeah, we got to keep some separation here.
He's partitioning. Clearly,
Yeah.
something had happened at some point, and it led him to not want, or he just saw how Suge treated women
or anybody.
or anybody. Yeah,
A punching
the
bag.
wrecking ball.
A tourist camcorder captured footage of Tupac and his crew waiting for their cars in the Luxor Valet area while chatting with some women. That could be another reason he left her behind.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe meet some other women.
True.
Yes.
Let's not forget, Tupac is 25 years old.
I know. This is the craziest part. He's so
Yeah.
young.
Once the cars arrived, the whole entourage piled in and drove to Suge's estate in the Paradise Valley Township because Suge wanted to change his clothes too. So I don't think I had mentioned this yet. Suge has this big place in Vegas.
I did not know this.
Yeah. And he knows the town in and out.
That's my problem. Other problem with Suge. He owns all the properties. He owns all the cars. Well,
He owns the authorities too.
yeah, and he doesn't buy Tupac's mom a house. He owns the house and he just lets her live in it, but he's going to get that back eventually.
Yeah.
Tupac says he wants a car.
Oh, yeah.
Suge gets him a car, but Suge still owns the car. And he just
Exactly.
gives it to him. And it's just, Suge is such a scumbag. And I bet you he's got the biggest palatial spread in the world up in Vegas.
Absolutely. And I bet that with All Eyes on Me, it's like, oh, yeah, this sold millions of copies, but you owe me for this, this, and this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he nickels and dimes him on everything. So I'm going to take some of this money back. You don't really have it.
Yeah, it's not a good situation for Tupac because he really, for all intents and purposes, he was broke.
Crazy.
And the only thing he really cared about was securing the house for his mom,
Yeah.
which he did. Like, Suge did buy that house.
And it was in the mom's name?
Yeah, in Atlanta.
Oh,
That was her house.
Great. Well,
That was the one thing he
not
made
great,
sure
but
to
yeah,
do.
yeah. Well, the mom's smart too, so she knows, what ownership is, and the fact that she wants her name on it and stuff. Like she's good at legal systems and stuff, and
Yeah.
dealing with
Yeah.
all that. Yeah.
And to Suge's credit, he spent $1.4 million on him getting out of jail. So,
True. No one else was forking that over.
yeah.
Yeah. So now we're like on Suge's side.
He's Sugar Bear.
yeah. He wears red because it makes him look thinner.
The Suge Knight advocate over here.
Yeah. Suge Pod.
So after going to his palatial estate in Vegas, the next stop, a benefit party at Club 662, where Tupac was set to perform with Run DMC and Mike Tyson would be in attendance. That's what he said in the clip earlier, that he's going to see Pac afterwards at 662. And this club was run by Suge.
Of
He
course.
invested in it, owned it, and that was his spot. And it was named 662 because the numbers spell out MOB on telephone keypads, which could refer to Mob Piru, a faction of the Bloods from Compton. Or it could simply mean member of Bloods.
West Side?
Suge had a tattoo with those letters on his tricep, but claimed it stood for money, organization, and business.
Yeah. True honor under God. Yeah, okay.
662, maybe that's an area code or something. I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, right. That's his weight.
Yeah.
Big fat fuck.
It fluctuates, but it usually hovers around there.
Yeah.
Then I turn up dead after this
Yeah.
podcast.
Mhm.
Yeah.
At 10 p.m.,
I don't mind Suge.
let's not get hysterical.
Guy.
The entourage headed back out. Tupac rode shotgun with Suge behind the wheel of a BMW black sedan with tinted windows and chrome wheels. The music was blaring. I wonder if they were playing anything that was on the charts that night. Maybe Biggie Smalls?
Ooh.
Or could it be California Love?
Probably
My
California
ambitions as a
love.
bride.
Or the Macarena?
Yeah, that's probably it.
Hey, Macarena.
Hi.
Following closely, could you imagine dying to that? Following closely behind was the rest of the group in a parade of luxury cars. Frank Alexander was the only bodyguard present, and he was told he also could have no weapons that night.
By Suge.
Yes, so he was unarmed and did not even have a radio.
Why is he not in the car?
That's a great question. That's a really great question. So the reason that there were no guns there that night is that Frank Alexander was an out-of-state security officer. So he would have had to obtain temporary concealed weapons permits for the state of Nevada, and no arrangements had been made in advance.
Oh.
That was the official reason why no one had guns.
Yeah.
Given what he said to Snoop on the plane, your security can't roll. Somehow it does seem like he's thinking of something.
It's an oversight at best
Mm.
and an actual conspiracy at worst, where they're like, well, we know that he's not going to be able to have a gun.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's gray. We
Yeah.
don't know.
It had been a surprise to Tupac and Frank Alexander, the bodyguard, that the Right Way security firm, which was used by Death Row, hadn't secured the permits for Vegas.
Ah.
A Death Row attorney specifically informed the bodyguards that it would be illegal for them to have guns that night.
It's surprising to me that, given the wild lifestyle of these guys, that they really follow the letter of the law. Like,
True.
like they know that they're on probation, and this probation, if they get caught, could mean very serious ramifications as far as the law goes, and they could actually see some time. Because sometimes if you're on probation and you get caught doing something, slipping up, whatever sentence you would have been given at that time goes into effect. So you're going straight to jail for like a year or two.
Yeah, and if it's your second or third felony, it's a three strikes law. You could go to jail for life.
Yeah, California, they really don't fuck around. Like they,
Yeah.
it's like a liberal state, but if you have the three strikes law, you are like, there's no other choice but a judge to send you away.
Yep.
With all this going on, they cruised down the strip, windows down, sunroof open. Fans were easily spotting them as they drove by. An amateur photographer snapped a photo of them as they slowly rode through the gridlocked traffic. The impromptu snap would later sell for thousands of dollars, as this was the last photo of Tupac.
He looks
alive.
scared. He looks very scared. He looks like he's very unsure of what's going on.
Yeah. Or he's just seeing someone taking a picture.
Because, I mean, he really wasn't scared. He knew that those guys were going to come try to find him. And it's so crazy how they got wind of this after party and they were on the way to the after party and just, I'm sure you'll get into it, but randomly stumbled across them in the middle of the street while they were fucking yelling at girls and girls were yelling at them.
But think about it this way, too. In time and space, this probably just felt like another night in his life.
Yeah.
Like, why wasn't he shot the night before?
Oh, yeah.
He has no reason for that specific moment to be scared.
Mm-hmm.
Besides being told, bodyguard couldn't have a gun.
But he could be asking Suge questions like, "Hey man, what's going? Why can't I have my bodyguard in here? Why is this? Why is that?"
no, he really wasn't concerned. 'Cause we'll get into that right now.
Okay.
Because they were partying. At 11:05 p.m., a bike cop pulled them over, Suge and Tupac because their music was too loud and the license plates were not displayed properly on the BMW. So that tells me they were just having a good time cruising down the strip.
Yeah.
Suge was asked to get out of the vehicle and open the trunk. He did so and was let go a few minutes later with no ticket. What the hell does that tell you?
No laundry. No ticket. No laundry.
What, that there was nothing in the trunk?
No, just that he's untouchable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They laughed it off and continued on their way, turning onto Flamingo Road en route to the club. Frank Alexander following behind them. Still, danger was the farthest thing from Tupac's mind. Not only were his friends and bodyguard nearby, but there were other cops, off-duty cops, stationed at Suge's house and the club. The event itself was sponsored by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. The event at the club was supposed to raise money for a boxing gym intended to keep kids away from the violent streets.
I feel like Suge is like Gus Fring. You know, he's like a really engulfed in crime, but he's also really tight with local cops.
Suge is dumb, but he's not stupid, if that makes sense. Like, he has the Machiavellian part of his brain where he knows he needs to make angles in life and get the right people in his pocket. And he's good with psychology and knows how to manipulate situations. And I think that's what...
Absolutely. That's what got him to be the head of Death Row.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he knows that ownership is everything. So if he owns the masters to all this music that's being created,
Yeah.
and he owns all the property, and he owns all the cars, and he owns basically the people, without giving any of that and just, loaning them money, basically, he owns them.
Let's not forget that he literally stole the rights to Ice Ice Baby from Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, and who knows who else he did shit like that to.
A lot of people.
Like bullying the masters are basically all that matters. And like if you own those, you own all of this music and all these people. It's great. It's great. If you're
Good work if you can get it.
Suge Knight, yeah.
Yeah.
The boxing benefit that they're on their way to at Club 662 also had another benefit for Tupac. His performance would count as community service.
Wow.
Which was one of the conditions of his probation.
Man. Hiring cops as security detail is a really way around the law to bribe cops.
Yeah.
Or bribe the police department. Because say you jack up the rate to like, $400 an hour. So you're kind of in effect just giving a bribe to police officers.
Yes.
The BMW and the rest of the entourage stopped for a red light at the busy intersection of Koval Lane and Flamingo Road. One of the other cars pulled ahead to the right. Another car, the one carrying bodyguard Frank Alexander and members of the Outlaws, which was a hip-hop group that Tupac was producing, managing.
Well, the Outlaws is who did hit him up with him. Like,
Exactly.
where they did the anti-Biggie track.
His proteges, who he works with.
And who were actually from New Jersey. I always found that strange that they were like on Tupac's side of this East Coast, West Coast battle, but they were from New Jersey.
Yeah.
Well, he can overlook some things.
Sure. Okay.
Some flaws.
Yeah. Again, the contradictions.
He was many things.
Yeah.
And so anyway, the car with the Outlaws, Frank Alexander, stopped right behind them. And then a random car, not part of the group, got in front. So the BMW was boxed in. The street was filled with pedestrians. You can imagine this. Fight night in Vegas.
Mayhem.
Well, Vegas on any weekend night is nuts anyway, but if it's a fight night, there's like people walking throughout the entire street and, some people aren't waiting for the light to cross. And
No. To the left of the BMW was a Chrysler filled with 4 beautiful black women. Ingrid Johnson, one of them, would later tell police she smiled at Suge and he invited them to the party as their guests. 11:17 p.m. All of a sudden, a late model white Cadillac with 3 to 4 black men inside pulled up directly to the right of the BMW and abruptly hit the brakes. A man from the back seat pointed a semi-automatic handgun out the left side window and started firing towards the BMW. Glass was flying. The noise of the bullets being sprayed was deafening. Tupac made a lunge for the back seat, but his seatbelt held him in place. Suge yelled for him to get down and then attempted to cover him as best he could like a human shield, which resulted in him getting hit in the back of the neck. The BMW was filled with blood, smoke, and broken glass. It was an intense, terrifying scene. But within a matter of seconds, the attack was over, and the white Cadillac sped off into the night. 6 cars sped after the perpetrators as they floored it, southbound on Covell Lane, but they never ended up catching up to it. "You hit?" Suge asked Tupac. "I'm hit," he answered. He had been shot brutally at close range. Police later determined that at least 13 rounds had been fired, 3 directly into Pac, 1 in the chest, 1 through the hip into his lower abdomen. This is the bullet that struck him as he tried to move to the back seat. And then a 3rd round hit his right hand, shattering his index finger and breaking his gold ring into pieces.
Jesus.
Bodyguard Frank Alexander said, quote, "All I saw was the position of the shooter. He was in the back seat. I saw the arm of the shooter come out. I saw a silhouette of him, which was a black person wearing a skull cap, a beanie cap," end quote. As he was running over to check on Tupac, the BMW suddenly started moving and sped away. The air was still filled with gun smoke, creating a hazy fog effect, which made it difficult to see clearly. So the white Cadillac is long gone. No one really knows where they went and couldn't catch up. And now Suge is speeding off.
Well, Suge can still drive, getting shot in the back of the neck.
Yeah, more about that in a
He's
second.
got a lot of padding there, I know.
A pack of hot dogs.
Some reports state that members of Tupac's entourage returned fire to the white Cadillac, but no casings were ever found to support that claim. Although, had revolvers been used, they wouldn't have left any casings behind.
No, but Tupac and his entourage, they were not utilizing guns. You don't want to drive along the strip right there. You're stuck. You know, obviously you're stuck. They're stuck there in traffic. So, you're kind of screwed.
2 Las Vegas bike cops had heard the shots and pedaled furiously towards the crime scene. Suge had already taken off by the time they got there. All that was left was shrapnel and horrified onlookers.
Are these bike cops armed with guns? I wonder. They're like on 10 speeds with spandex on. Are they strapped?
I'm gonna dispute that they pedaled furiously to get there because they're not armed. They're fucking going through traffic, being like, "Bring, bring, bring.
Yeah.
We need to get to the shooting."
They're switching gears on their 10-speed bike.
Yeah,
Maybe they spotted a Dunkin' Donuts.
they probably flew there to see it from like down the street.
Yeah, behind a barrier or something where everyone else was.
Yeah.
They're even stupider than you think. Listen to
Oh
this.
shit.
So Frank Alexander, the bodyguard, and the rest of the crew followed Suge, Tupac, and the BMW. Suge was in a state of panic. He made a frantic U-turn onto Flamingo and headed west, allegedly in search of a hospital. And remember, he lives in Vegas part-time. He knows the town really well. Why doesn't he just take him to the hospital then? He seems to be just driving maniacally any which way.
Well, I'll play devil's advocate here. If you're in Vegas and you're used to Vegas, no one knows where the hospitals are in Vegas.
All right, fine.
Like, you know where, the Golden Nugget is. You know where to, get your Coke spot. You know
Get this
where.
guy to the Rio.
Yeah, you know.
Massage parlor.
Stat.
Yeah.
The Spearmint Rhino.
Yeah, get this guy to a massage parlor. Yeah, let's get a lap dance. Maybe that'll cure him.
Yeah, can we massage this out of his fucking head?
Let's massage the bullets out of his back.
So, yeah, he's heading west in search of a hospital. At this point, there's 2 blown out tires to the BMW. They were shot out, yet the vehicle is still moving. Tupac was still clinging to life and alert, but he was having trouble breathing. Both of them were covered in each other's blood. "We got to get you to a hospital," Suge told him. "Me? You're the one who's been shot in the head." By the way, this turned out to be false. Medical evidence shows that Suge didn't have a bullet stuck in his head. He was only grazed by a piece of glass.
Oh my God, what a liar.
Throughout the chaotic car ride, Suge's Motorola cell phone sat on the car's console unused. 10 or so cars trailed behind them, as well as the 2 bike cops
Yeah, but they're right behind him.
who called for backup. But why didn't they stay and secure the crime scene?
We need more bikes. Stat.
Yeah.
Imagine cops show up.
I want 3 BMXers and 5 mountain bikes and a speed bike.
Showing up to the crime scene and then leaving it.
Yeah.
Not even leaving one of the officers behind to secure it. That's how you solve crimes.
Yeah, the crime scene's fucked up by everyone driving over and shit. You're supposed to, block off the street.
So it wouldn't be secured for another 20 minutes after the shooting. By that point, evidence had been compromised and multiple key eyewitnesses had already gone home.
Oh yeah, there's probably people puking all over the street at that point.
Yeah.
I saw it happen.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Suge inexplicably started heading back towards the strip. He weaved in and out of traffic in the left turn lane, ran red lights, drove over the median, and started cruising south down Las Vegas Boulevard before finally grinding to a dead halt in the middle of the intersection at Harmon Avenue. They were about a mile from where the shooting took place. Pandemonium followed as the police, fire department, and highway patrol surrounded the BMW. Only 3 of the cars from Tupac's entourage made the full trip down the strip following them. With guns drawn, everyone was ordered to exit their vehicles and lie on the ground with their hands behind their heads. Suge, who was bleeding from his head, from a piece of glass, was also ordered to hit the pavement at gunpoint, despite his pleas for them to get Tupac to the nearest hospital. Yeah, why didn't you drive him there? I don't care what Mark said. I think he knew where the hospital was.
Okay. Well, yeah, something weird is going on here. I think you're right. He probably would have been better off just staying at the crime scene and just sitting there and just,
Devil's advocate, though, there was just a drive-by shooting. I would kind of want to
maybe
get the fuck out of there,
there's
too.
more perpetrators that are coming.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe.
So the cops let Suge up after Frank Alexander explained that he was in fact a victim, not one of the shooters.
Mm-hmm.
Then Suge ran over to the BMW's passenger side and yanked on the badly damaged car door until it flung open. Things started to calm down as paramedics arrived. Police made all members of the entourage sit quietly on the curb until homicide detectives arrived. They were later taken to the station and had mugshots taken so they could be identified as Blood gang members, but curiously, not as witnesses to the crime. So by the time the men were told to give their statements, they were jaded and not too keen on helping the cops in their investigation because they were treated like criminals. After breaking down the BMW's door, Suge and Frank lifted Tupac out of his seat and laid him gently onto the pavement. He told them he couldn't breathe. His eyes went wild as paramedics lifted him into the ambulance. Suge jumped in, and they were rushed to University Medical Center. I'm glad the ambulance driver knew where the hospital was.
Yeah. Well, did they really need Suge to jump in the back and weigh down the? How many? Just there's sparks flying as it hits the pavement.
Turns out the tires were blown out on the BMW by Suge's weight,
Yeah.
not the bullets. When Tupac was first brought to the hospital, he was listed in grave condition and put on a ventilator and respirator. Then he was put on life support and placed in a medically induced coma. Doctors gave him a 50-50 shot at surviving. He underwent 2 surgeries to stop the internal bleeding, which included the removal of his right lung.
Whoa.
However, the bleeding continued. A 3rd surgery was scheduled, but his heart kept giving out. Although doctors were able to revive him multiple times, it was clear that his life force was fading away. So with a great deal of sadness, Afeni made the ultimate call for the medical staff to stop reviving him. And that was it.
Damn.
On September 13th,
Hold the plug.
On September 13th, 1996, Friday the 13th of all days, Tupac Shakur was pronounced dead at age 25.
Damn.
God.
Missing the 27 club by 2 years.
That's the craziest part to me, that how young he was. Wow, this all went on
I know.
like over a span of like
Not that many years.
like 60 months.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
entire career and meeting Suge,
Yep.
Shock G, all this stuff was really within
Less than that. It's like 48 months.
5 or 6 years.
I've had a longer car loan than that. It's fucking insane.
Oh, is Dennis Miller here now? I've written card notes longer than that, babe. Than Tupac's career in death, babe.
It's fucking true, though. He accomplished more in like 3 years than any of us will do in our entire lifetime.
I financed a Suzuki for longer than this guy's life and career, babe.
The Irishman is longer than
Yes.
his life and career.
Fucking Killers of the Flower Moon went on
Jesus.
longer.
So let's watch this clip. Primetime Live, Afeni Shakur talking about that.
The doctor came out and said that Tupac had stopped breathing 3 times, and they had revived him 3 times, and that every time they revived him, he just went back. And I asked them to leave him alone and to let him go. I really felt it was important for Tupac, who fought so hard to have a free spirit. I felt it was important for his spirit to be allowed to be free, And so I rejoiced with him and with the release of his spirit. I rejoiced then and I rejoice now when I'm not crying.
Very sad.
Damn.